Hey there everybody, Alex here with Momentum Charting. If you are new, welcome to the channel. If you enjoyed this amazing and awesome content, take 2 seconds for me please. Go down below, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell notification. Doing those will ensure you do not miss any exciting updates on Apple, broad stock market, really cool stuff, really exciting things, really nice developments overall in this broad stock market over the next few months. You're not going to want to miss any of these updates. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Let's dive in here to the chart of Apple. And guys, it's kind of newish channel. Been going about a little over a week and a half now. So I'm still kind of trying to figure out where people are as far as what type of content they enjoy. For the most part, I've been getting really good feedback so far. I appreciate that. And I'm kind of probably a lot like a lot of I think you guys are, and that you prefer to look at the shorter term time frames of stocks and tradable events rather than the large picture and large movements of stocks. I know that's kind of where I am at my heart, more of a trader than a long-term holder, but I do both. But sometimes for me it's kind of helpful and educational and fun. I think that's a big appeal for trading systems and trading techniques like Elliott waves and things like that, where you can try to get a large picture of potential future developments in the market. And to me, that part of looking at stocks and markets is always fun, but very, very difficult technically most of the time to look further out than a few days or a few weeks at most, as far as I'm concerned. But every once in a while, you take a broad picture and a larger time frame, for instance, daily and weekly. You jump out and you take more of a looking at the forest instead of the trees approach. And I find that kind of fun from time to time. And I did that today with Apple. And what I found here, just to me, I thought was really interesting. So I thought I would take a few minutes here and share it with you guys. What I'm seeing here on Apple and the potential effect on the broad markets, really what I think could be in play over the next few years. So what I've done on Apple here, and again, I'm here on TradingView. I'm in my daily time frame, and I have my momentums indicator set. Most of you that watch this channel on a regular basis know this is one of my favorite indicators is this momentum indicator. And for now, I'm just going to open up the panel with just this so we can focus on this momentum indicator. And what I've done is I've basically divided Apple into kind of five macro growth segments ever since 2009. Okay, so which has obviously been the most important part of Apple's growth in its history. It kind of lingered between a few dollars and a couple dollars up until the late 90s, and then came all the way back. But this has been like the most explosive period of its growth, was starting around 2003, 2004, and then on up till today, obviously. But I've got here what I consider the 5 most important kind of macro segments. So I've got here 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and you can see there it's really difficult to put a relationship on these growth segments. And what I've done is just used an uptrend momentum indicator. So basically, I'm dividing segments by larger scale upticks in momentum and then breaks of that momentum to the downside, which you can see here building up in August 2006, broke in January 2008, and then started again here in February 2009, broke again in 2012, October, then started up again in May 2013, and broke again in June 2015. And then once again, the big bull run in 2016 to 2018, broke in late 2018. Everybody probably remembers the November-December crash of 2018. And then the next segment, which is from January 2019, and interestingly enough, the COVID crash didn't break this macro segment of momentum, and we've just continued this to the upside, and it continues today. So you can see basically the relationship between these 5 segments. It really has nothing to do with time and has more to do with the upward trajectory of the momentum and when exactly it breaks to the downside, leading to the next bearish phase, not only in Apple, but also this happened to very, very clearly signal bearish phases in the NASDAQ as well as the overall stock market. So I just found this to be really, really interesting. And as you can see here, I'll go back to the price chart. So I'm just going to say that when you're inside of these, let me go in here, and when you're inside of kind of these macro momentum moves, you are going to get moves to the downside, max drawdowns of around 25% or so. The time when Apple and broad markets have a chance to break more than that to the downside is only when they break these kind of momentum trend lines to the downside. That's when you get breakdowns of Apple of 35-40%, as well as broad markets breaking down that much too. Same back in 2008, obviously, shorter here during the bull run, but basically whenever you break outside of these momentum channels, that's when you have these massive, massive corrections in stock markets of 35 to 50%. When you're inside the bounds of these, you don't have those kind of downturns, and definitely Apple has not had those types of downturns. What we're seeing in here, mostly from the peaks, even from the peak here in September 2020, we had that big correction. This was about 25%. And same in here, another 20% correction, another 20% correction. So that seems to be about the max drawdown. So to me, whenever you're inside of these larger scale macro momentum moves, if the stock were to dip as much as between 15 to 20%, you are on absolute high alert to try to pick a bottom in Apple and kind of bottom fish the stock at around the 15 to 20% if it corrects that much when you're inside of these larger macro moves. Now when you break outside of them, it's a different story, and you have to wait for the momentum to start turning to the upside again. But I just found this very interesting. And also what I did find interesting, so Apple obviously is inside, which I've been pointing out for the last week and change, inside of this larger upward moving channel. Is that going to stop at the top? Is it going to stop somewhere in between? I don't know, but I'm just looking at this move for broad markets, and you take the stock of Apple. It's such a large part of the overall NASDAQ composite, such a large part of the S&P, and to me, broad markets really are in no real danger of one of these massive corrections which everybody seems to be waiting for until this macro momentum move ends. And I'm going to show you that. And if we just kind of look how these develop, and once you kind of hit the midway of these macro moves, it just starts kind of churning sideways here, sometimes for months, sometimes for years. Okay? Same here. This one didn't really even churn sideways. It was a little bit more up, right? Until finally we broke down here in June 2015. You go back here. Same thing, up to sideways, about halfway. Just kind of churn sideways, and same here in 2006. So you kind of get the same thing. This one dipped down below and then came back in and had the big crash of 2008. So basically what I'm kind of seeing from this is that I believe that we are somewhere here around halfway in this macro momentum trend, which would so far has been about 2 years, a little over 2 years. And the reason I'm saying that is you can see here even after this momentous downturn in momentum since the tops in around September, September 2020, there's been really no downward movement in price. We are actually above the price levels that were in September 2020, and most of this has been on a downward momentum move. So I have a strong suspicion here that what's going to happen, yes, along the way, as I stated here, we have had a couple corrections around the 20 to 25% area, but none more than that. So it's very possible in here that we do get a correction of Apple at some point here and broad markets of around 20%. Certainly very possible, but as of right now, I am seeing broad markets in really good shape here for the foreseeable future. And if we just take this momentum and kind of extrapolate this out in like a sideways churning / slightly upward move, you can see here that judging by the kind of shape and trajectory of this, I'm not really expecting, this is, yeah, so this is the end of, this would be 2022, 2023. So this would approximately here would be the end of 2023. So, I mean, to me, as far as from what I'm seeing here in the momentum, the current broad move of momentum, the macro momentum move, I'm seeing the potential of stock market here to be in very good shape overall, and through 2023 and maybe even possibly into 2024, which I just found that really interesting. It's kind of fun to do these types of exercises, and again, I don't do them all the time, especially with you guys and making videos on them, but I figured this video would interest some people and maybe get some more eyeballs on it than just like the daily update videos and stuff like that. This is something people can come back to for a while and look at and just kind of look and see if it's sort of following along this path in Apple. But I just found this really interesting, and it looks to me again here like there could be a lot of strength here in Apple and broad markets for a number of years here, and people that are just sitting on the sidelines here in the markets, you know, just, I mean, you see them every day, the fear videos, the market's going to hell, the Fed is printing, markets crash is right around the corner. Yeah, I'm not so sure, guys, here. If you're sitting on the sidelines and waiting for this massive correction in overall markets, you may be sitting on the sidelines here for another 2, 3, 4 years waiting for an event to happen that just simply doesn't look like it's going to materialize at any time in the near-term future. Again, are we going to get some turn down here at the top of this channel? Very well could, or somewhere in between here. Let's see what type of a correction, just out of pure interest, that would signify an Apple. Let's take our little tool here. Yeah, somewhere 13%, maybe something like that. Seems reasonable to me, but to me it would only represent a buying opportunity. Again, I've kind of laid out my case here for what I'm seeing with these macro moves that have played out with the momentum in Apple as well as broad markets for the last 13, 14 years, and it's been the same thing every time. You can see how this momentum builds in the trajectory, how it just slowly churns back and forth, taking equity prices higher and higher over time, right? Because momentum operating in these positive zones, especially on a daily time frame, will continue to move stocks higher and higher. So I just found that very interesting, and hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you got any questions for me, just leave them down below. But I would definitely not be too concerned about broad markets until I saw this this line of momentum breaking to the downside. At that point, yes, certainly I would be very worried about broad markets, and not only worried about Apple, but worried about broad markets as well. But it looks to me like we are, you know, I mean, even if this thing were to turn down starting in the next week or month or whatever, I don't think that this would break. I think it's headed back up to the upside and just going to be churning here for a number of years. That's kind of what I'm seeing. So again, to me, the signal, the real first signal on a broad market crash would be Apple breaking this line of momentum to the downside. That's when I would start getting worried about the possibility of a 35 to 50% correction in broad markets. I don't see, according to what I'm looking at here on a macro time view, anything resembling anything close to that happening in the near-term future. But, you know, that could certainly change. Number of months we come out here, the next year. This is such a long time frame here. Sometimes say, yeah, the middle of next year we end up breaking down from here. Yeah, I mean, that definitely could signal a weak market, but is that going to happen? That would basically have this momentum coming straight down from where it's at, and I just don't think that's going to happen. And even then, that would be another year of sideways chop in Apple / slightly bullish activity. So I'm not really seeing the worry that everybody else is in broad markets right now. I'm seeing continued strength in the short and near-term future. Yes, we can definitely have a correction. Like I said, there have been corrections in this cycle of up to 25%, but they seem to be getting shorter. The one before that, after that was 20%. The one after that was 15%. The next one looks like it could possibly be between 12 and 13%. So yeah, you know, keep your eyes peeled for those type of corrections. But I think any major dips of 10% or more are going to represent really nice buying opportunities in Apple for the foreseeable future. So that's basically the entirety of my video. Just thought I'd shoot this today. I found it really interesting when I was kind of digging into these macro momentum moves. I thought you might as well. So guys, if you haven't yet, please go down below, hit the subscribe button if you found this useful. If you want to continue to see my updates, I do stocks on a daily basis. I may try to hit a few more of these kind of macro longer term videos, which I do enjoy, just to kind of get a broad market outlook, maybe a couple weeks, couple months, couple years. I enjoy that type of stuff from time to time. And hopefully you do as well. Subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I hope to see you again in the next update video very, very shortly. Bye for now.